That's one thing that's like 100% true. Like I always make sure that the socks and the shoes are together, and then put them on at the same time. I never just like put my socks on. I'm gonna go find my shoes now. I don't do that. No, no, there's no time for that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a conversation with Colin. I'm Greg, and this is my roommate, Colin. Now, sometimes Colin says crazy stuff. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I reach into my random topic pile, pull one out, toss it at him, and we talk it out for your amusement. If you like that, like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and leave your suggestion for future conversations in the comments below. Colin, are you ready?
Yes.
Today's topic of conversation is sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or sock, shoe, submitted by Boy WEC on Twitter.
I'm just calling it that this is an awful conversation, but we can have
Just answer the question. Do you go sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or do you go sock, shoe, shoe?
I would say 4 out of 5 times sock, sock, shoe, shoe, but there's a time where I'll go with sock.
I don't think I've ever gone sock, shoe. Yeah. That sounds like the craziest thing in the world.
I've done that. I've done it. I put shoes on every day, so this happens once a week, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your shoes are out here generally though in the living room. So you're bringing your socks to your shoes and doing it.
I never put my socks on unless my shoes are there too.
Oh.
That's one thing that's like 100% true. Like I always make sure that the socks and the shoes are together, and then put them on at the same time. I never just like put my socks on. I'm gonna go find my shoes now. I don't do that. No, there's no time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Well, you've blown my mind. I thought this was a dumb question too, but I thought we would just mock him the whole time.
No,
I've never heard of a human being going sock, shoes.
Let's not take away from the fact that this is a dumb question.
Okay. Well, I think we've. Do you want to audible? Do you want to audible out of it?
Yeah, let's get out of this.
All right, we're gonna audible out of it, ladies and gentlemen. The first ever audible out of it with Conversation with Colin. Next question is the NHL Lockout. This was submitted by the Dubinator. NHL Lockout's finally over.
It is.
This hurt you as an NHL fan.
It did. It was horrifying.
I guess talk to me about, like, first off, why did it happen? I didn't, you occasionally try to talk to me about this and I fall asleep, but the Dubinator wants to hear about it.
Dubinator.
What happened? Why does it keep happening? I don't understand how this keeps happening to the NHL. They're not a super popular sport.
No.
It's not like, oh man, we're bringing in the fans, so here we are, give us more money or whatever.
Well, hockey is a very lucrative sport, but.
All right, well, tell me about it.
It's the smallest of the 4 major sports, and but like infinitely bigger than any of the other sports in the in the United States that are not in the Big Four. So the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, which the players' union has with the league, had expired, and there were fights over a few things, but the major sticking points this time around are different than they were in 2004, 2005 when this happened last time, and we lost the entire season. The sticking points back then had a lot to do with the salary cap, which we have a salary cap now. We didn't have a salary cap before then, so it was designed to create parity in the league. This time around, the arguments had to do with profit sharing. The players were making like 57% of revenue from the league, which is strange because they don't own the teams. And the league wanted to basically reverse the numbers. And in addition, they wanted to start making rules about entry-level contracts and the contract lengths and how you can stagger money over contracts. Because what would often happen would be a player would sign like a 6-year contract at $30 million, but he'd make like $9 million the first year. And then he would make like $7 million the next year. Or it would reverse it, and so it would be cheaper up front and then more expensive later on. And this had everything to do with working your way around the salary cap. The problem with this was that situations would arise with certain players where they were making an exorbitant amount of money towards the end, and then they were untradeable, and it was hurting the cap and all these things. It basically was like working the system where the league wanted something where like you were getting paid the same amount over the course of time, so that players become tradable and they didn't have to wait till free agency and all these things. It was a mess. So there was this back and forth with the league and the Players Association, and it was clear from the get-go that this wasn't going to get solved instantly. And the players had dug in, and unlike the last time, the players had hired a representative named Donald Fair, who is like prolific in athletic labor disputes.
You were telling me about this. It was the baseball one was the other one he was famous for?
Yeah, so everyone well, maybe not everyone remembers it, but
not.
I mean, it was a huge deal, and baseball was like all fucked up in the early and mid '90s, and there was a lot of disharmony between the league and the players, and so this was a lockout. So this was the league saying you cannot play. The things that were happening in baseball were actually player strikes mostly, and Donald Fair came in and got the players the deal they wanted and something that was acceptable to Major League Baseball. And he's largely credited, even though there was a lot of pain in the mid-90s through baseball, he was largely credited with the fact that there have been no problems in the MLB since. That like they've struck a good chord here where everything's just fine, even though baseball is like quickly diminishing in popularity these days. So they brought him in, and a similar thing happened, but the league wasn't going to have it. The league was totally comfortable with not playing this year, I think, and they were, I think, expecting that the players were going to bend when they stopped getting their paychecks. And so the players stopped getting their paychecks in October, and this went on all the way until recently when the league came in with a 48-game minimum, and a new CBA was signed. That's good for 8 years, I think. That solves a lot of these problems, and they kind of met halfway. But it was unfortunate for the fans because
you're one of those fans. I mean, how was that for you? You love your Islanders. I mean, they're terrible, but you love them.
Yeah, I love the Islanders.
Lovable losers.
I watch every game, and it was just unfortunate in the sense, in the paradigm, like if you look at it through the lens of the fact that this just happened.
Yeah.
And that we don't want something predictable like this happen every 6 or 8 years when the CBA is up. I think that the solution would have been, and the players offered this in the league declined, that they should have just kept playing under the auspices of the old CBA until they made a new one while they were playing. But the league wouldn't have it, and I understand why. It doesn't make business sense to let the players make more money than the actual organizations that, the clubs, the 30 clubs. So it sucked. It sucked. And I think it's bad for the sport to have, for people to think that, we're not this legit league because we can't get our shit together with the labor and stuff like that. And I think we lost a lot of gains that we were making with American. Canada loves hockey, and northern United States loves hockey too. But we were starting to make strides in the Midwest and in the South a little bit in certain markets that I think were ruined. And it's just disappointing that the peak that hockey hit, at the turn of the century, where hockey was huge. Hockey was getting really big, really, really big. And I don't know if people really remember that, but hockey was getting really big in the 90s and into 2001, 2002, and stuff like that.
Mighty Ducks helped. Street hockey helped.
Yeah. Well, street hockey and roller hockey made it accessible to markets that don't have rinks. Southern expansion with the Panthers and the Lightning and the Coyotes and the Dallas Stars and all of these things. Well, the Stars moved from Minnesota. We're getting in, untraditional markets that people still think hockey doesn't belong in. People want to truncate the league to get rid of some of these teams, and I don't think that's really appropriate. But it's just a shame that we lost all this cachet we built up with people, because hockey is, in my opinion, the best sport in the world, and we have to show why hockey is the best sport in the world, not with disharmony with the greatest players in the world playing in a league where they're all going to Europe and there's all these problems now. And it was a shame, but I'm just glad that it's back and it's a 48-game season, and we'll see what happens. And it's just good to have the sport back, because it's what I do to occupy my time in fall.
It is what you do. It is what you do. Well, great. Doominator, thank you for saving the day and saving this conversation. Boy, WEC, get fucked. Don't fucking send in shit conversations. Conversations Colin doesn't want to have. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about sock in the NHL Lockout? Let us know in the comments below. Then please post your suggestions for conversations. That way Colin can come here and he'd be like, hey, I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Sugar cookies? All right, here's what I think. Until then, like the video, share it with your friends. Come back all the time. We love you. Have a conversational day.
The Irish and the potato only happened after the New World was founded, and of course the tomato becoming this beautiful sauce only happened after the New World. But that's a tangent.
Yeah, that doesn't have much to do with Sarah Palin.
It might as well have. Tomatoes have more to do with rational and coherent politics than Sarah Palin does, actually.
Who the fuck has ever done?
No one's ever put sock shoes on.
I do that.
Apparently he does it 1 out of 5 times.
Twisted brain.
So you get dressed all the way in your room and then walk down here with your socks.
With your socks.
I usually walk here to get my shoes and then go back into my room.
Okay.
Okay.
Next.